Yo, 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 what's up, everybody? It's your boy Isaac,
And this is your boy Bryce.
and we are brothers on tennis. And folks, we've made it to the midpoint of the 2023 US Open. And man, Bryce, has there been some exciting action at the US Open? Man, you and I were there. We've since moved on to other destinations, but boy, oh boy, the tennis is still hot. How have you been doing? And what are your thoughts, my man?
It's been a good trip so far. We started before the actual main draw started in New York. We hit the City Taste of Tennis event. Hopefully everybody's been watching the interviews we've been posting with all the players. That was a great time as always. We did some other kind of pre-tournament events. We were there for HBCU Day, which was great. We were there for Pride Day, which was great. So it's been a really good trip so far. We lucked out with the weather.
Yes.
Sometimes in New York, I mean, it can be really humid and sticky and uncomfortable, but we dodged that. There were forecasts for rain for the days we were there. We saw very little of that. So I can't complain at all about the trip. And then, of course, we saw some amazing tennis while we were there. Um, it'll be very interesting to see as we have this conversation of how we make our way to the finals, how some of this kind of plays out. But cannot complain with the 2023 US Open thus far.
Absolutely, brother. It was a fantastic time being on site and look forward to the second week. So jumping into that, my man, which side would you like to start off first as far as what has occurred and where we're going?
We always start with the women, so let's start with the men this time.
All right. All right, let's do it. Let's do it. And so, folks, just FYI, we are taping this on Monday morning, so not everyone has made it to the quarterfinals as of yet. Typically, we do our estimates starting at the quarterfinals going forward for the Mid-Fortnight, but understand that we do have matches today that are round of 16. So we will be talking about those results and what we anticipate to see as well going into the finals. So, Bryce, we're starting with the men.
All right. And I apologize in advance if you see me looking to the right because I have these notes written down and I have the lies that I told last week written down as well. So I need to refer back to those to know when I need to give a sorry. But speaking of the men, let's talk about I guess what it is, the bottom half that has already made it to the quarterfinals. So currently we have in the quarterfinals Francis Tiafoe, who will be facing, we're going to have a little black on black crime here. He's going to be facing Ben Shelton, who, took out Tommy Paul, which was, I think, a little bit of a surprise to us, right?
Big one.
Right. And then we have Taylor Fritz taking on Novak Djokovic. So, Isaac, let's start at the top with Tiafoe. Let's start with this. Yeah. So out of those four, how did you do, Isaac? How many of those did you call?
Well, I called 3 of the 4. The only miss that I had was Tommy Paul because I actually had Tommy Paul taking out. Who did I have him taking out? Actually, I thought Rune was going to get there, but of course he lost in the first round. So I'm happy that Ben Shelton was able to kind of get, sneak through the draw. But yeah, I did not have Ben upsetting Tommy at all. So Ben being in the quarterfinals, man, talk about a year for Ben Shelton, bro. That is amazing. I mean, don't get me wrong. Tommy Paul is my dude. But if he's going to lose to anybody, I am so happy that it was another American and that it was Ben Shelton. So happy. Exactly. How about you, my man? How did you match up?
I'm the same way. I picked 3 of the 4. The one that I did not have, I had picked Tommy Paul to come through there. I actually had him coming through over Bublik.
Got it.
He took the L early as well. So everything that you just said, if Tommy had to lose to someone, Ben Shelton was the one that I feel good about. And, I think they said Ben Shelton hasn't won 2 matches in a row all year, except for at the Australian Open and now the US Open, where he has made the quarterfinal round both times. So, and it's, and I think, Isaac, you and I have talked about this. We love both guys. We love Tiafoe. We love Ben Shelton. but I kind of feel like this win is a little more important for Tiafo to continue
Yes. Yes.
building upon the result he had last year. I mean, Shelton just joined the tour, right? He's got his whole career ahead of him, and we expect these kind of results going forward. But if I had to pull for one, which I'm going to have to, it's going to be Tiafo because I'd like to see him take it one step further than he did last year, at least.
Yeah, I can't say it any better, Bryce. I mean, same here. I think I had initially Tommy Paul making it through to that semi against Djokovic, but in truth, I definitely, like you just said, I would like to see Tiafo get back to that semifinal level because that's where he was last year when he lost to Alcaraz. And honestly, I would give him a shot against Novak Djokovic. I know y'all think I'm crazy, but again, they played a lot. They've played at the what was it called? The Laver Cup. And I think that Tiafo has enough confidence that he can pull an upset. And I really honestly believe that this would be the place where he can do it.
And I'm going to add on to that, Isaac. Djokovic has been impressive from the standpoint of he came back from 2 sets down to beat his countryman, right? And, he's had some other good wins, but he has not looked unbeatable to me. And I think, and I'm not saying, he's going to, walk out on the court the next time and lose, but I think a Fritz can challenge him. I think a Tiafo can challenge him. I think obviously an Alcaraz and a Medvedev, can challenge him. So he is in no uncertain terms, a written in winner of the U.S. Open for me this year. So now, granted, these guys are going to have to play the matches of their lives, but I think it's doable.
I absolutely agree, bro. I absolutely agree with that. We are in for some fire tennis coming up here, y'all. Whoo, good stuff.
So now let's move to the top half of the draw where, like you stated, they are still in the round of 16. They're playing today. Who do you have left that's playing today in the top half?
Well, honestly, Bryce, all of my quarterfinalists that I selected are still viable. So, of course, I'm going to stick with my same picks that I have going to the quarterfinals. At Alcaraz, I had him getting there over Talon Griekspoor, but it looks like he's going to be playing Matteo Arnaldi. Still expect for him to win that match. The Zverev Sinner, I actually had that round of 16 matchup, and I still am thinking that Sinner will make it to the quarters. I had Medvedev versus Jari. Jari didn't make it. Alex de Minaur did. But again, I still expect Medvedev to get through that match. And lastly, I had Hurkacz versus Rublev. Looks like Jack Draper is back on the scene doing big things. But again, I have Rublev making it to the quarterfinals. So those were my 4 quarterfinalists. How about you, bro?
So you were potentially going to have 3 of the 4.
Well, no, I could have 4, 4 or 4. Because my quarterfinalists are Alcaraz versus Sinner and Medvedev versus Rublev.
Oh, gotcha. Versus Rublev. Okay. I can only have 3 of the 4. And I have Alcaraz against Sinner. I have Medvedev. But I had Hurkacz taking out Rublev.
That's what it was. Yeah.
So that's where I'm going to miss out. So all in all, I mean, we're pretty on with the remaining ones. So I'm assuming then, since we have so many of our quarterfinalists in, that we're really not adjusting semifinals and finals type predictions, right?
That is 100% correct. My draw, I'm still sticking to it, bro. It still looks pretty decent.
Okay. So as a reminder to those that may have not listened to our preview show, let's just quickly run through our championship run, right? So I had, for the semifinals, I had Medvedev against Medvedev, and I had Tommy Paul versus, excuse me?
Say that top part again.
I'm sorry. I had Alcaraz meeting Medvedev in the top 7. And at the bottom, I had Tommy Paul meeting Novak. Now, I do have to make an adjustment for Paul, and that's where I'm going with Tiafo. I hate to say it. I think Novak takes out Tiafo. I'm going to stick with my Alcaraz taking out Medvedev, even though Medvedev has a little bit of a chip on his shoulder, a little edge this year. So I would not be surprised at all if Medvedev wins that match. And then, like I stated in the preview show, I take whoever wins between Alcaraz and Medvedev actually over Novak in the finals. How
Right.
about you?
Right. Yeah. For me, my man, again, I actually had Sinner taking out Alcaraz. I think I might regret that because I think Alcaraz is looking pretty good, but I'm sticking with my original prediction.
Mm-hmm.
I, of course, had Medvedev over Rublev, and I have Medvedev beating Sinner in the semis, Djokovic now beating Tiafoe, although my heart will be completely and totally with Tiafoe. I just don't
Yes.
that I could
Yes.
count on him to be able to get Joker. So we're gonna keep with my prediction, and it's a Medvedev Djokovic final that I've predicted. And again, I'm predicting that Medvedev is going to take this championship because again, he's been under the radar, and like you said very well, he's got a chip on the shoulder right now because
Right.
everybody's been talking about Djokovic and Alcaraz, and he is the self-proclaimed hard court,
Right.
specialist. So he's sitting there like, y'all keep talking your talk, keep
Right.
talking your
Right.
talk, because I'm gonna snatch this title and I'm gonna be looking at y'all like I got two now. Boom, boom.
So, with all that being said, before we go over to the women, were there any performances this first week that you want to call out? Any males that had a particularly good tournament that you maybe weren't anticipating?
I will say about Jack Draper. I mean, that to me is pretty solid for him to be in the round of 16 and having been out for at least this year. I don't know when's the last time we
Mhm.
saw Jack Draper. So again, a good lefty, good kid. He's probably like what 20, so he's part of that next gen, maybe 21, 20, maybe might be even 22, but he's still very young. And so for him to be on the scene and kind of making an impact, I think that is really really solid. For me, it was just some of the upsets. It's kind of like Hubie going out, and it's just like I just those types of results were more of a surprise. But as far as the breakouts, I'm trying to think if there's anybody else because I don't actually have the draw sitting in front of me to see what others are out there. But I know if you have them, I will likely agree. So I'm going to pass it to you. What were some of the things that you saw and some of the, good results and runs that have been made on the men's side?
Well, I'm just going to add one. I mean, you said Jack Draper, which I totally agree with. I've been hyped on Jack since he first kind of broke out and was a little disappointed, that he was suffering from the injuries. But the other person that I know you're going to agree with me on is our guy Rinky Hijikata,
Yes.
making it to the round of 16. I mean, last year, he was able to get that Australian Open doubles title, but I mean, we hadn't really seen a breakout singles result like this yet from him. So, I mean, he's somebody we interviewed back when he won a challenger in Calabasas.
That's right.
And now he was playing round of 16 against Francis Tiafoe and acquitted himself quite well. So that was a surprise performance for me that I was very, very happy to see.
Agree, brother. Agree. Shout out Marty.
Yeah, there you go. I do Marty Woods. All right. So let's take a break here and let's come back and let's talk about the women's side of the tournament. Okay, Isaac,
All
we're
right.
talking about the women now. Let's take a look at these draws and let's take a look at these lies that we may have told last week.
Yes, bro. Talk about results. Crazy.
Mhm. Right.
Crazy.
So let's
Yeah,
start
go
the
ahead.
top half. So I
So
think I went first last time, so I'll let you go this time.
okay, yeah. So starting at the top half, those that have made the quarterfinals, we have Ostapenko versus Coco Golf, and we have Muhova versus Kirstea. Now, I am 2 of 4, of course, of those picks because
Mhm.
I'm sorry, Bryce. Ain't no way I had predicted that Ostapenko was going to be a 4-0 against Iga Swiatek and take her out to get to the quarters. I need you
Right.
to help me understand. Help me understand, brother. Because
Mm,
man, woo!
You know what? And okay, so we knew going in that was down, excuse me, 0-3 to Ostapenko. But I figured,
Right.
okay, 0-3, they haven't played in a while. Eagle's a different player, well, Ostapenko's well, she's pretty much the same player.
She said,
And I just expected for Eagle to win. And when she stepped out there and won the first set, I was like, okay, this is how it's going to go.
right.
Did not expect for Ostapenko to keep it together long enough to really drive Iga those next two sets. And to wait a minute, what do we call it? Pigeon? I mean, Iga is truly Ostapenko's pigeon, right? I mean, is that not
That's
the definition of pigeon?
That is pigeon right there, bro. I'm 4-0 now against the world. Have not relinquished that spot to anybody for what, the last year and a half, 2 years at this point. And Ostapenko's like, girl, I'm scared of you. I like your game. I like your game. Your game fits me perfectly. And honestly, Bryce, it really does. Because if you think about it, Iga's game is her forehand is very spinny. That is
Right.
going to sit right up there for Ostapenko to swing out on. And we know Ostapenko's game. If Ostapenko sees the shot, she's going to go for that shot. And if you
Right.
sit that ball in her sweet spot, which I think Iga's ball does that, she's going to be hitting. She's going to be hitting it, bro. And she is like, yes, sis, I like your game. Bring that game all day. All day.
And let's not forget, based upon what you just said, Ostapenko has now knocked Iga out of number one. Sabalenka will become the new number one when the new rankings hit.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So,
and I think, honestly, for her, that actually is a good thing for Sabalenka, because I think when she was playing for it, she got nervous. But now
right.
at this point, it's hers. So she a match in order for it to happen. And so I honestly feel like she's going to do very well in a couple rounds.
All right. All right. So, like you said, Ostapenko makes it through to both of our surprises.
And how about you, bro? Bro, what were your picks that you had? Because I think I had, of course, Iga making it through. I actually had Rybakina versus Kirstea, but Kirstea showed up and showed.
Yeah. For me, I had Iga making it through to face Coco Gauff. And then I had Rybakina making it through to face Muchova. So Swiatek's out, Rybakina's out. So, but the interesting thing is, I had Gauff and Muchova both making it through that round. So I really didn't lose anything going into the semi, but that's not how I expected for things to go.
Same here, bro. Same here. I think we had the same picks as well. And like you said, I'm not going to change my semis or my actual overall pick, because again, I do feel like even though Ostapenko and Kirstea made it through, I am still picking a Gauff Muchova semifinal.
Absolutely. So on the bottom half of the draw, where they are playing today, I have all four still in. I had Vondrousova versus Pegula and Jabeur versus Sabalenka.
Yeah, we were the same. So exactly.
Okay.
Yep.
Now, I think as I have peeked at the scores, Vondrousova has now split sets with Peyton Stearns, who, by the way, is our Cincinnati homegirl, Coach Eric Heckman. We're full on that train. So come on, Peyton Stearns. And I just saw that Madison Keys just gave Jessica Pegula a breadstick, which I am very surprised about. What do you think about that, Isaac?
Bryce, yeah, I saw that result as well, just looking at it, and that is very, very surprising. But again, Jessica Pegula has fight, so again, I'm not going to change the prediction. I feel like that one will go 3, and we'll see what happens, because again, they're both Americans, so hey, we at least get American through. And
Right.
if it's Madison Keys, let's not forget she was a finalist here, so she's comfortable on these U.S. Open courts. So if she can keep her game right, Madison always, in my opinion, has a shot. She's got the game. It's just a matter of can she execute on the day. So we'll see what happens.
And you know what? And if she wins this match, she actually might have somebody show up at her press conference. Oops, I'm sorry. Did I mention that? We'll have to tell that story later. That might be too much to drop on
Yes,
the
we
people
will.
today.
Because that's a shame. I'm sorry. Former U.S. Open finalist and one in the press. No, that's not nice. Anyway, we go forward. What else do you have, Bryce, on that side?
So yeah, so I like you said, we had the same four. I had Pagula coming through over Vondrasova going to the semis, and I had Jabeur actually coming through Sabalenka on that side. Now I'm gonna tell you, I got a little nervous with Jabeur when she was playing Buskova because
Right.
even with Buskova being hurt and groin issue and all that, I guess I didn't pay attention to Jabeur having the respiratory issues as well. I was thinking you should be driving her, but I hope she gets better because she's going to need it against Zhang today. And we know Sabalenka is playing Kasakina today. So two really good matches still to come up.
Absolutely, Bryce. I think both of those matches are going to be fire. Like you, I still predict that Ons Jabeur and Sabalenka will make it through those two matches. For me, I did pick Big Sab over Jabeur, though, and honestly, I'm sorry, I have Big Sab. That's correct. I have Big Sab over Jabeur. And I honestly, I feel a little bit better about that prediction again, based on what we just talked about as far as that number one ranking goes. I think that now that it's going to happen regardless, I think that she will play a little bit freer. And yeah, we'll see. But again, Ons Jabeur is, we love some Ons Jabeur. So in that one, it's really tough for me because Big Sab is my girl, but Ons Jabeur is my girl. Now I'm kind of like best. I honestly feel that way. I picked Sabalenka, of course, but in my opinion, if Ons Jabeur makes it through there, I am just as.
Gotcha. I guess my four semifinals are I have Gauff and Mahova, and I have Gauff making it through to the finals up top. Below I have Pagula and Jabeur, and I have Jabeur making it through to the finals. So I have a Gauff Jabeur final. And this is, like you're saying, we're in these situations where we're big fans of both. And if I'm fortunate enough to get a Gauff Jabeur final, I just had a feeling like this was going to be the time that Jabeur broke through. She got it in. But Gauff, I would not be happier if Gauff, took the title. I may actually want Gauff to take the title more than Jabeur, but my tennis brain is telling me maybe Jabeur would do it this time, so.
Right. Absolutely. No, I get it, Bryce. And like I said, that to me would be a fire final, of course. I don't know that we would get a crazy final based on some of the people that are still left. Well, but I shouldn't say that because Ostapenko and Kristeva is still around. So anyway, but with that being said, Bryce, I had Pagula versus Sabalenka in the semis. I picked Pagula to make it to the final for an All-American final against Gauff, and I have Gauff raising the title. So I'm going to stick with those predictions, even though it looks like Pagula is a little down with Madison Keys right now. But I'm going to stick with the final. But in truth, like I said, Ons Jabeur making it there, hell, Sabalenka making it there. I would not be. I would not be disappointed because, like I said, we've got some strong ladies on the WTA side. So it's going to be good matchups regardless.
Right. So let's talk about some of the surprise results we've seen on the women's side. Who were you surprised to see make it as deep as they did this year?
Well, I mean, you got to give a shout out to Kristeva. I mean, good Lord. I mean, she's been kind of very, she'll dip in and show that high level of hers, and then you don't see her for a while because she did that earlier this year. She had a great run, and I can't remember if it was the Indian Wells or Miami or some tournament. It was a big tournament, and she had a nice run there, and then we didn't really hear from her on the
Right.
clay or on the grass, and then all of a sudden she's in the quarterfinals of the U.S. Open. It's just like, girl, what you
Right.
doing? You know,
Right.
because you
Right.
got the game. So maybe it's just
Right.
that matter of staying consistent, or I don't know, but I'm just really impressed that again she is having another really good run in 2023. So I call her out. Again, I don't have the draws in front of me. I'm trying to think if there was someone else that, of course, you got to mention Ostapenko just because it's Ostapenko. You just
Right.
never
Right.
know. For her to be in the quarterfinals and to take out Iga as her pigeon, I'm sorry, that is fantastic.
Absolutely.
How about you, bro?
Absolutely. Well, you named two, I'll name two. And the first one we just were talking about a few seconds ago, and that's Peyton Stearns. I mean, she just turned pro a year ago. And I think they said this is the first time since, I'm not going to quote the year because I don't want y'all coming for me, but this is the first time that we've had two NCAA champions, with Ben Shelton and Peyton Stearns, both in the quarterfinals, or around the 16, I'm sorry, here at the U.S. Open. So shout out to Peyton Stearns, our girl from Mason, Ohio. She's really doing it. Once again, with our coach Eric Heckman, we're fully on that train. The other one that I'm going to call out is shout out to Caroline Wozniacki for coming back and acting like she never left, right? I mean, she got into the round of 16 and gave Coco Golf all she could handle, right? And remember, this was only her third tournament back. She's already said she's not playing again for the rest of the year. She'll be back for Australia, but her and Svitolina, you cannot discount them. Just like, you don't just come back and step on the court and pick up where you left off, but they made it seem like you can almost do that.
Absolutely. And it takes focus. It takes, the dedication. And that's what they put in. They were like, yes, we are mothers now, but we can manage, we can balance, our careers as athletes as well as being mothers. And shout out to them, Bryce. I mean, talk about incredible. That, and like you said, everything you said about Wozniacki, all spot on.
Right. Right. I do want to give a shout out to the people. We showed up and showed out in doubles this year. Alicia Parks, Taylor Townsend, Robin Montgomery, and Clever Engenau.
Yes.
Showing out in the doubles, great results. Love to see all of it.
Absolutely. Just so happy that they, entered the doubles, have had some great wins. I mean, just, it's really good. And quietly, a quick shout out to who is it? Vondrasova and Strisova for taking out our girls, Sinyakova and Krejcikova, because that, in my opinion, was a big win. It was an all Czech affair. And they were like, ladies, I realize y'all number one in the world, but we country women, ain't nobody scared of you. And they jumped up on them, and I thought that was a really solid victory on their part. But you know who I'm waiting to see up in the championships, though, and that's my girl Shea Sway. Pop the collar, Bryce. Pop.
Right. Yes. Yeah. And wait a minute, what do you think about that mixed doubles team of Ben Shelton and Taylor Townsend?
Right? I saw that they're still alive. I'm like, that is a team, two lefties, and with all of that talent, I would not be surprised if they raised that trophy, Bryce. I would not be surprised. Really so good to see them playing together and playing so well.
Right.
And Bryce, how about the men's side of the draw? I mean, how about having some names actually winning again? You've got, Salisbury and Rajiv Ram. You've got, our boy Jules and Aravello. You've got pretty sure Skupski and Kuhoff are up in there. I mean, and how about the French duo getting back in it, Mahou and Pierre Herbert. I mean, these are names that we're used to hearing. And like I said, the
Right.
men's double side this year has just been, in my opinion, a bit scattered. So to really
Right.
see a lot of those guys winning, I don't know, Bryce, but it makes me feel a little bit more like, okay, there's some consistency that's trying
Right.
to come back on the men's double side. What about you, bro?
I just think tennis in general, whether you're talking about the men's doubles, these ladies that are coming back after having kids, the idea of how long and when you can play this at a professional level has definitely shifted. Before, if you reached 30 with no kids, it was time to call it a day.
Right.
And now we have all kinds of examples of players coming back to the game, performing at their best level, and being extremely competitive. If not, some of these ladies have winning titles. And I
Exactly.
don't know, sometimes I don't know if that has to say more about the people that are coming back versus the people that are already on tour, right?
I think it's a little bit of both. I think it's kind of a shift. It's like, no one thought it was possible. So I don't think that anyone, really tried to push themselves when they got to their 30s or mid 30s. And so it's just
Yes.
been, in my opinion, a big shift. And I think you owe that to a lot of the big three. I think seeing a Roger play till he's 37, 38, Rafa
Mhm.
still on there, even though his, 2024 will be his last year. He's 37. Novak is
Mhm.
either 36 or 37, still,
Right.
the selection for Grand Slam. I just feel like there has now been a shift. And you can even take it even all the way back to Andre Agassi, to be very honest with you. I feel like
Right.
Agassi played, past what would be considered his tennis prime and
Yeah.
got great results. So
Navratilova.
yeah, thank you very much. Navratilova winning slams at 49, a mixed double slam at 49. So
Right.
I think that just the mindset has shifted, Bryce, and it's a wonderful thing. I love all of it, but I'm so happy that they have begun to really understand and embrace the whole motherhood and maternity piece of it, because to me
Right.
that was definitely a huge gap in the game. Shout out Serena.
Right. Exactly. And then, as we start to wrap, this episode up, just shout out to all of you that we met at the US Open, that we took pictures with and we got a chance to meet and hang out with. That is truly the enjoyment piece of us being on site, is being able to know all of you, the BOT fam, beyond your Instagram usernames, right? And that's still a thing for us. Sometimes we'll meet some of you and it's like, I don't know this person. And when I hear the Instagram, the IG username, like, oh, that's who that is, right? So we just appreciate the love that everyone has, the community that is being built, and actually the respect that I think we're all getting in these type of environments. We're hearing from a lot of people like, we'll meet someone and be like, oh, we know about you guys, or we know about your community or whatever. So shout out to all of you that are really keeping, this whole love of tennis from a broader audience alive.
Absolutely. Well stated, Bryce. Well stated. We appreciate you, family. And again, we just want to grow the family. That's what it's all about, is bringing tennis to you the way that you want to talk about it and for it to be heard. So that's what we're trying to do. That's what we try to facilitate. And we could not do that without the BOT family. Love y'all.
Right. So we will be back next week at the end of the tournament, obviously, to review who ends up taking the hardware, at all the different, um, individual men's, women's singles, doubles, mixed doubles, all of that kind of good stuff. But we really want you to enjoy the rest of the tournament. Our hearts go out to all of you that were impacted by the Spectrum outage. I mean, members of my family. Oh, Isaac, yourself. Geez, I mean, speak on it. You're going through
I'm,
it yourself.
I'm not happy, y'all. I'll leave it there. I'm just not happy. It couldn't have happened, in my opinion, at a worse time, especially when we're trying to do this and coverage and again, we're back. Well, I'm back at home. Bryce will be back at home today, and it's like to come back home and have to be juggling and trying to figure out how I can watch tennis was just very disappointing. So to say the whole Disney Spectrum thing is a disappointment would be an understatement.
Right. So for all of those of you that have gone through the struggle with that, our hearts go out to you. Just hopefully you don't find yourselves in that situation again. So
Right.
so with that, on that note, we're going to go ahead and leave on out today. But thanks for listening. We will be back at you next week, and have a great one. On behalf of the podcast, this has been your boy Bryce.
And this is your boy Isaac.
And we are Brothers on Tennis. Everyone be well.